In this video, we have very close racing action in the brand new Formula car. Daily Race B, we've got some crashes as we race Group 4 at Suzuka. And in Daily Race C, we're at the Nurburgring, and I absolutely send it. Hello everyone, and welcome back to a Gran Turismo weekly race guide here in 2025, week number 6, and quite an insane week this week. There's going to be a lot of carnage, I fully expect. First up in that Formula F 3500 car that's recently been introduced to Gran Turismo 7. They're at Catalunya, no chicane, doing 7 laps with a grid start, and it's a false start check as well, racing medium tyres. This car has hardly any grip over that rear, or arguably it's got so much power it spins those rear wheels up, so you are going to have to be careful. Now if you don't like this race, I imagine quite a few of you will not like this race at all, there are some timestamps there for you to jump to Daily Race B or Race C respectively. Back to Daily Race A then, we've used this track 9 times. We've never used a track car combo because it's only just come out, and we last used this track on the 23rd of December. In terms of issues for this Daily Race A combo, wheel spin for days, yes, it will wheel spin even in 5th gear, and the curbs are very dangerous. That's where the wheel spin can all happen in a moment. Without further ado then, let's jump into this one and let's see how much carnage actually happens, especially with a standing start. Right, who's in this at first? At racing, we've got Hamburger in pole, German Kiwis in this one as well. Not many people have set laps. Now, I would say, even in practice myself, I struggled to get laps down. Crash controller put at 3 for this standing start. 3, because I was expecting all sorts of carnage with this wheel spin. Let's kick off then. We hold in that handbrake, we let it go, and here we go. Do we drop the traction control down yet? Yes, we've got back down to 2. That's the traction control number I would advise for this one. So people will have better starts than me here as we head towards turn number 1. And arguably, everyone's pretty safe here as we go into this one. The radar looks absolutely insane. Look how many arrows are on that one. But everyone being very, very cautious there, which is nice to see. Don't expect this in every single race. I'm expecting absolute carnage for the majority this week and lots of plebs of the week submissions, of course. And you can do that down below in the description. We're still side by side as we go through here. Did anyone notice a reset there? There's a brutal one, and I'll show you that one in the bloopers as we go towards the left-hand side. We're on the outside right now for this left-hander, and you want to get straight before you go through full throttle. There we go. Max Powers gained loads of positions there. Up into P3, nearly P2 there for Max Powers. We go into this left-hander, still side-by-side action. Bit of contact there. Again, nothing major here. We're all surviving, which is brilliant stuff. Really well played to absolutely everybody. Going through here, though. JetBlue there, I think must have had dirt on their tyres because they just couldn't turn right. It was weird. Very bizarre. Slightly tapped him there as we go in towards the left-hander here. And, oh, hello, Max Power's gone round there. Looks like that was in involvement with German Kiwi. We'll have a look at that one in the bloopers. But we are up into P3. Now, arguably, I probably should give that position back to JetBlue, if I'm brutally honest, now watching this as well. But fortunately for me, JetBlue's actually going to go for the move here and going to retake the position. Oh, hopefully so. Max Power's getting involved as well. Max Power involved in that incident as we go in towards turn number 1, and JetBlue is there. So, you know, all's well here. Everything back to status quo, arguably a few positions up due to Max Power's incident at the left-hander. You fast forward a bit more here, JetBlue with that 1 second penalty they already had. Max Power nearly rear-ending me there as we go through this left-hander. JetBlue just gets it wrong on the exit there, as do I. Bit of wheel spin there. Max Power coming alongside here for this left-hander. Very hard to go around the outside here. Very hard to do anything in terms of overtaking here with this car because you get one moment of wheel spin and you go flying. So we advance to lap 6 because nothing happened in the middle there. Everyone spreads out, which you can see on the race map there. I was catching the leaders. So Blue Racer had a penalty, so we've got some racing action here towards the end of lap number 6 as we go through here. Now, I'm being a bit more cautious now due to dirty air as well. Do keep that in your mind when you are behind somebody. You'll have even less grip over the rear wheels as Blue Racer gets a little bit squirrely there through the final couple of corners. We're on the straight though here, and this is where downforce and slipstream play a part there. You can see we go on by here. Blue Racer tries to send it down the inside, gets it slightly wrong here, and I go round the outside up into P2 as we look to try and chase down Shadow. 2.2 seconds up the road. We try, we don't do it on one lap. Shadow's a very good driver, of course. We'll come home in P2. Now, I quite enjoyed that one, if I'm brutally honest with you, but I don't think many people will. I really don't. So I'm giving it, in terms of point score, a 3.5. If you want all the details about the point scoring system, make sure you check out the pinned comment down below, which will appear at some point today. Right, without further ado then, let's get into the track guide. So I'm using traction control 2 here, 0 on the brake balance. So this was rank 1 at the time. I've dropped a little bit here. Still plenty of time in the lap. So on the left-hand side, we've got the flag indicator and the 100 board. I want you to brake in the middle of these two, okay? in the middle of these two. Really good brake marker. So after the flag indicator before the 100 board. That's what you're going to see me do right here as we jump now to this one. So we go into this first corner. We clip the sausage. We're up into 4th gear now, over towards the left-hand side, and then over towards the right. I lift off a little bit there, and I upshift to 5th gear. That's to stop the wheel spin, okay? That is, honestly, the wheel spin is so annoying in this car. So short shift in this car to try and survive. I'm on traction control 2 as well. I'm looking for that orange painted barrier. Should mention that as I've highlighted it. That is my accelerating marker there, where I can full throttle around the corner, and in 5th gear, I will make it without too much drama. We get towards the top end of the power. You don't have to shift to 6th gear here. I would recommend staying in 5th. On the left-hand side there, we've got the end or start of the bridge, whichever way you want to look at it. That is my brake marker for this right-hander. The thing with this car, you do have to brake earlier than you think. You think, oh, I've got loads of power, I'll have loads of stopping power. Not necessarily the case. So brake a bit earlier than normal. As we go through here, I've gone up to 4th gear, once again, to avoid wheel spin. So the orange painted barrier there, really good accelerating marker. As that gets close to the edge of your screen on the left-hand side, that's when you're going to want to accelerate. And that's what I'm going to do right here. So, let's do that. 4th gear, you want to straighten up the steering as quick as you can, because if you remain full turn in there, you're going to get wheel spin and spin out. On the right side there, we've got the building, and that's our normal brake marker for this left-hander. Stay in the gear, and then you're going to drop down. So you stay in 4th gear, don't go to 5th, and then as you hit the brakes, you're going to drop to 3rd gear, and then obviously go down to 2nd, but you will short shift back to 3rd gear. As you come into here, notice how I'm slowing it down, I'm trail braking, short shift to 3rd gear, get straight as you can, and then go for it. Notice how I used a lot of the curb on the exit just to straighten up that a little bit earlier to avoid the wheel spin. If you're turning and accelerate, the car just spears off, and that's the thing you've got to avoid. So just before you get to the start of the curb here, you're going to hit the brakes. Now, I tried 4th gear through this corner and 3rd gear. While 4th gear is relatively safe on the exit and 3rd gear not so much, 3rd gear you get so much more power going up the hill. So I highly recommend you stay in 3rd gear for that one. As we go up here then, on the left-hand side, you got the orange painted barrier or the end of the curb. For this one, you want to lift and turn in, but you want to turn in at the end of the curb. But if you turn in too late, you're going to understeer way off very quickly. If you turn in too early, you'll then turn in too tight and then run wide and have a really rubbish exit. It's really hard to get right. As long as you clip the curb, you're fine. Be careful on exit. You can get wheel spin there. The way it hits the bumps, it can force the wheels to just over-rotate. That obviously forces wheel spin and you spear off. So just be careful of the exit curb. You get to the sharp left-hander, you got the Portaloo on the left-hand side, and you got the flag indicator on the right. Well, where the flag indicator would be, you got the pole for it. That is the perfect brake marker for this corner. What I want you to do is drop to 1st gear, short shift to 2nd gear, be careful on exit, 50% throttle, then up to 3rd gear early. Lift off a little bit for this corner. Do not flat that corner, you will spin. And then on the left-hand side, you got an orange painted barrier if you want to use that as a brake marker for this right-hander. It's very critical on the slight left before this one, you lift. If you go full throttle, you'll just spear off left or spear off right because of the way the weight shifts in the car. The rear will get light, spin the wheels, and you go flying. Now, in terms of accelerating markers around Catalunya, you always have these orange painted barriers. I pointed out one earlier on, but you also have these sausages. Really good accelerating markers. Effectively, that is your apex. So as long as you get close to them, and as long as they get near the edge of your screen, that's when you should start accelerating. And that's exactly what I'm going to do right here. 4th gear. Wasn't 100% throttle yet until I was straight. This is flat out in 5th gear. I did lift a little bit there. I got a bit scared. For the final corner, it's a lift off. Now, you can dab the brakes and it sort of helps you get round, but lift off and turn in just before the end of the yellow curbing. So you see I've lifted off now. I need to turn in, but make sure I don't turn in too late, as in after it. So you turn in just before it, and then we accelerate through the corner, and we head towards the line, and that's a 118.7. Not too bad of a lap there. Hopefully that's of help to you. Remember traction control on that one. Don't be afraid to use traction control. It's there for you to use. We jumped to Daily Race B then, where we're in Group 4 machinery at Suzuka, and my word, that grid looked absolutely amazing on that camera shot. What we're doing then, 4 laps here at Suzuka, a rolling start, racing hard tyres, and you can adjust the brake balance, of course. You can do that in the previous car, but obviously it was on +0. Now, with the BOP update, the Alfa Romeo seems a very strong car, so that's the car I chose for this one. In terms of this track, though, 21 times we've used it. Bit overused, Gran Turismo. We've only done this track and car combo 3 times, and we last used this track on the 6th of January. Overtaking can be hard in Group 4, and the Alfa 155 seems a bit OP, especially at the start and in that mid-range of acceleration. Let's jump into this one then, and let's have a look exactly what happens as I race an NSX. Right, what cars have been picked then? We've got a Porsche in P2, and I'm pretty sure Marisonic said unfinished business in the Cayman. We will see. So if you're enjoying this one, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Stay in touch with all the latest content. And you can see me waving there to Shadow, who unfortunately just gets absolutely swamped by me even before turn number 1. It shows you the difference in those two cars as we go into this first corner. But we are obviously all going to get very close here. There's the Honda NSX, who probably wondered what the heck they were getting into this morning, because we're having a real destruction derby in the warm-up. And yeah, they obviously saw that and were probably thinking this is going to be the worst race of my life. Fortunately, hopefully they knew what was happening there, and you can see we are racing clean as you like as we head towards Tidgney 1 and Tidgney 2. So not much happens in that first sector really once you get past turn number 1, because it's just line of stern really. But I do get a good exit on Tidgney 2 here, so we are side by side with the Honda NSX as we go into this braking zone. I'm obviously going to have to take the wider line here, but with this car being all-wheel drive, effectively feels like it's got unlimited grip. Put the foot down and off I go. The Honda disappeared there. Unfortunately, there was an incident. We'll have a look at that one in the bloopers at the end of this video. As we go into the braking zone here for the chicane at this very first lap, as we go through this left-hander, what is going to happen here? Well, up ahead, looks like we've got carnage. Huggy goes left here. Shelty's gone wide, and we go on the inside of Shelty, and we're right behind Hamburger here. Not cheeseburger, Hamburger, as we go towards the right side. But here's the difference between these two cars. That GTR solely pulling away then, so it's got a bit more top end than this Alfa Romeo 155. As we go into the braking zone, Hamburger gets it slightly wrong in the braking zone, though. We're looking down the inside of the GTR. Can we get this done? That is the question as we continue on through here. Not quite then, and the GTR remains ahead. Shelty, I mean, fair play for picking the FF car there, and holding out as well, actually. So it's only the mid-range acceleration which really makes this car very brutal. Ooh, I'm not sure what happened with Shelty there in the background, but Shelty has lost the position to Sammy Snake. Through there we go then. I'm looking to get a better line through here. The GTR took a very tight line, and you can see the difference there between the two lines, and I get a full clean run on the GTR, and I'm already past as well. Being in that mid-range acceleration, this car just flies. Jump into P6 then. Up ahead we've got a Lamborghini, the old Meta car, fighting with the new Meta car of the Alfa Romeo as we continue on through here. I did expect them to do a better job in terms of changing the meta, if I'm brutally honest with you. And we got a bit cheeky here on the Lamborghini down the inside. 2 wheels off the circuit, but we've still got 2 wheels on, so it counts, it's fine. And you can see there we're now up into P5 with Norman up ahead. And we do catch up to Norman using the slipstream as well. We head towards 130R, and I just didn't want to go too close here. I was hoping to actually send it into the chicane, but as you can see here, I am way too far back. The Lamborghini on my left-hand side as well. Going to keep that driver in mind. I do indeed, and everything is absolutely fine as we continue on through here. I was hoping to get a run on the exit as well, but Norman nailed it. Absolutely nailed the chicane, so I have to wait a lap later. Here we go then. We are in the slipstream, and we are pulling up to Norman quite quickly. Then Norman goes towards the right side, so I go, do you know what? I'm going to go for this then. Through the left hand, I am going to have to brake for this one, being side by side. There we go. We make it work. Brilliant racing there as we continue on through. But the cars behind do catch up to us. I do get a bit of a bump draft there. Catch me out a little bit here. Sammy State tries around the outside, but what goes a bit too deep. And everybody just has a bit of a clash there. We are going to have a look at this one in the bloopers. Oh, the Alfa goes around as well of Norman. We are going to have a look at that one in the bloopers. But we advance to the final lap. And you can see there I got track limit penalty at the chicane, but that's nothing major, as I was looking to catch up to Mario Sonic in the Cayman. But you can see there 3 different cars at the top, and actually the bop isn't as bad as I've feared for this one. 6.5 the scores, but I'd argue in the race the Alfa is very strong indeed in terms of overtaking other cars. Right, let's go into the track guide then, and you can see my brake balance down in the bottom right side, +5. So as we go in towards turn 1, you're looking for the 50 board or the tarmac on the left-hand side. Either of these are good brake markers, and this is all about trail braking. There's been some discussion in Discord about trail braking and on other websites as well. Trail braking still exists, you just have to adjust yourself a tiny bit. But as you go through here, watch my braking input as I go into here. Notice there it's 50%, and I'm just trying to slow the car down gradually. And as we go through here, I'm going to accelerate out. Now, the Alfa Romeo likes to over-rotate on acceleration, which is why you can just put your foot down and go, and it should be fine and rotate nicely. But just keep that in mind. Through here, it's just on and off the throttle, so accelerate, then lift off, let the car do its thing, then accelerate again. The more aggressive you are with that, the quicker you will go in Sector 1. You just have to get used to the Alfa Romeo if you are using that. Other cars obviously vary depending on what you pick. As we go to this right-hander, the start of the curve then, this is where you dab the brake and you look to slow the car down. This one, it's a gradual slowing process. You want to get as far right as possible. And normally I aim for 70 miles an hour. And I did there as well, so it was 71. Always towards the right. Then we want to lift off a little bit. Try and clip the curb on the left-hand side if you can. And continue on through. Could have done that a little bit quicker. It wasn't the greatest corner. But we continue on all the same towards Tidgney 1. Now for Tidgney 1, we are going to use our normal brake marker on the right-hand side. We've got that lamppost right there. Nice, easy brake marker. So we're going to hit the brakes, turn in. As I'm in the Alfa, which weighs a ton, or has got a ton of downforce at least, we can actually abuse the curb a little bit here. So I'm going to clip the curb on the right side. Some cars will hate the curb, so just keep that in mind. But even so, we clip it, accelerate through the corner, and on the left-hand side, we've got the Marshall tent. The Marshall tent is our brake marker for Tidgney 2. I would argue I'm braking a little bit early here in the Alfa Romeo, but some people will struggle to brake at the Marshall tent, hitting the edge of your screen. So just use that as your bit of a distance marker. If you can brake at it on the edge of your screen, happy days indeed. Let's say I have to really delay the throttle there just because I hit the brakes a bit too early. So there's plenty of time in that part of the lap for me as well. Continue towards the hairpin then, and on the left hand side we got the Dunlop sign. Now that's a bang on brake marker in this Alfa Romeo, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit the brakes, brake in a straight line all the way towards the apex. Okay, and hopefully I will show that now as we look at chase cam. So you can see you're going to have to brake a bit further back from the Dunlop sign. As we go into here, we're braking towards it, and then we're going to hit the throttle straight away because we know the car is going to be stable on exit. It may wheel spin a little bit and it may force you to slide a little bit, but you will get used to it. So just keep trying putting your foot down and seeing what happens with the car. We're already at Spoon then, so we've got the tarmac, the escape road on the right hand side. That's my brake mark here. You might want to use the 5th board if you prefer that, but that piece of tarmac has always been my brake mark here for anybody who's been watching the channel over the years. So that's what I'm going to do. Brake just after that leaves the screen here. I trail brake in. Notice that I missed the apex a little bit, so I've actually gone a bit wide here, arguably too wide, because you have to make sure you are off this curb before it ends right there. If you stay on this curb right now, then I'm going to hit the green slippy stuff and I'm going to go for a spin. So that's why I'm hitting the brakes a bit early here, but make sure you're off the curb and then you want to trail brake through into this next corner. Again, I lost a little bit of time here. I had to drop to 2nd gear to really get the car around, but up to 3rd gear, you want to stay in 3rd gear in reality, and we're going to head towards 130R, where you do actually have to look for a marker here. And it's the 50 board down the right hand side, okay. So when you get to that, I want you to lift off and turn in. You want to try and maintain, in this 155, 130 miles an hour. Some cars can do this quicker. Another McLaren can do this quicker, for example. That was very much up there on the leaderboards this morning. But 130 miles an hour is a good benchmark here. And I did 131 there. So that was a really good 130R. And head towards the final chicane then. And I always use this marker. Some people hate it, but I mean, I don't care personally because this is my marker. I always use this in all games. The yellow line there starts to appear on the right-hand side. That is a brilliant brake marker for the Casio triangle, which is this chicane that we're coming up to. So hit the brakes early for this one. Don't try and go too deep because you want to cut a little bit of the right. It opens up the left end for you. And the problem you have in the Alfa is on exit, if you get that wrong, that line, you can understeer off and end up in the grass. So just be careful of that. We head towards the line. That's a 208.6 there. And you can follow that ghost on the leaderboard if you so choose. We jump to Daily Race C then, where we're in that Porsche 911 at the Nurburgring GP layout, doing 9 laps. The grid start, another one this week with the false start check, racing medium tyres with a pit stop, and then you can see the fuel and tyres down below, and you can adjust the brake balance as well. Now you think the tyre wear is kind of high, it's not. I think this tyre wear is actually bang on with the grid start. Okay, really specific there. So we've used this track 10 times, 6 times for this track and car combo. So yes, it is a top 10 used combo, joint 10th at the moment, and it was last used on the 7th of October. Well, arguably it's going to jump up above 10th because we're using it right now. The chicane can be a bit dodgy in some cars. Remember, MR will have different issues to FR cars. And lap 1, turn 1, that's a grid start this time, so it's going to be a bit crazy here at the Nurburgring GP. Looks like the Porsche Cup, but there are a mixture of cars in this one. Let's jump into the race then and let's have a look exactly what happens. Here we are then with this final race. So we've got a BMW in there, just picking out all the other cars. We've got Lamborghini in there as well. Hold the handbrake then for this one and make sure you are subscribed. And do get a like if you are enjoying this video. Traction control on 1 for this start. I always do that for safety. You don't have to do this in all cars. I think the Ferrari is very good at starts up ahead. As you can see, Mascapi's just flown. The Alfa Romeo very good at starts as well. The Lamborghini behind having a good start. I think that's Sammy Snake as we head towards turn number 1. This is where it will get sketchy this week, and I imagine a lot of crashes happening here as well. Now, if you do experience any bad behavior or you just have a funny moment, do make sure you submit that to Plebs of the Week. Now, if you're wondering where well, not this week's, last week's Plebs of the Week was, it was meant to be due on Sunday. It's going to come out on Tuesday. We had 100 submissions, well, over 100 actually. I've been sorting through them, but you will see that on the Tuesday. Through the right we go then, and you can see there the Greek just made a mistake there, and I went on the inside to get it done. I had a choice between Max Power and Shelty. Now I figured the Porsche was slightly quicker than the Beetle on the right hand side. We can call this all Beetles, to be honest with you, can't we? As we head towards the right hander here, and Shelty's still on my inside there in the TCR liveried Volkswagen Beetle. But we go on through then, and here we go, P11 with, what's that, 2 or 3 wide up ahead. See that Lamborghini's made great progress in the distance. Slight contact between the two there. We're on the inside of Max Power here, looking to get advantage as we go onto the exit then. But Max Power in the slipstream. I am not in the slipstream right now, so I am struggling to keep up here. And going into this left, I just give it up for now. Side by side through the Schumacher S is not worthwhile doing, trust me. No doubt. One of you will at least go off. More than likely, both of you will go off because you'll hit each other and you'll ping-pong off in either directions. Right, in towards the right we go then. Still side by side up ahead, I think. All right, no, I think they've all settled now as we continue on through here. But heading towards the chicane, what you have to think about here is we are so close together here in terms of cars, you're going to have to brake early. And it's the same on every single lap one that you will experience pretty much. Notice here, I'm just backing off a little bit, braking early, trying to take it safe. Somebody set up the inside there, but brilliant effort from them. As we continue on through here, I was tempted to pit, and Mascafi went straight into the pit here, and I'd argue that's actually a really good decision if you play that strategy, which we will talk about later on in terms of strategy. Lap 2 then, you can see here, more fighting going on. That Max Power and Mario Sonic, yeah, two very much regulars on this channel, fighting each other here as we head to the second part here of the Mercedes-Benz Arena. And as we go into the left, I'm trying to find or identify the best way to make a position here, gain advantage, but nowhere to go. Mario Sonic defends it beautifully. Max Power falls in behind. I'm looking on the left-hand side now. Max Power as we go into here then. Side by side once again. So we're seeing some fantastic racing here. And you will have some fantastic racing this week. It's just that turn 1, lap 1 situation. I just think it's going to be crazy. Just with the way the Nurburgring corner actually is. We continue on down towards the hairpin, then we look towards the right side here, going to go on the brakes, and Max Power opens that up a little bit, giving me some space here, and we actually get the move done up into P9 we go then, as we continue on out of here. We advance a bit further on towards the chicane then, and as we go into here, I am thinking maybe I should pit on this time, but I was going to see what everyone else does up ahead. I see one goes in, I see Norman was about to go in, and then I'm like, oh, because that's where I wanted to go, but I saw Norman going in, so I backed out of it, but then Norman backed out of it as well, so I should have got in. So, a little bit frustrating there from my part, because that's what I was going to do, and I didn't do it. And I'd argue maybe that actually affected my race a little bit here. But we'll see how it goes, because strategy-wise, I would have still changed tyres. Some people are not going to change tyres in this one. Again, it's all an interesting choice. Lap 1 pitters especially, I wouldn't change tyres. But lap 2 onwards, maybe change tyres, get the fresher one. Will it work? I don't know, really. You've got a bit less fuel as well, so maybe it will. Right, we're still side by side with Mario Sonic here. If you haven't been paying attention to that first part and just listening to my voice, which arguably some of you will probably mute me by now. But going into this right-hander, still side by side. Beautiful racing there with Mario Sonic. It's why I enjoy these daily races on a Monday morning with you guys. I see Max Power going for the move, so I open up that gap there to allow Max Power some space. Now let's go into this left-hander. Max Power gets 2 for 1. 2 for 1 on the exit of the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Well played, Max Power. Well played. Now, Max Power is using a livery. There is a bug in the game where sometimes liveries don't load for certain players. So Max Power isn't just using the generic livery. He's using the famous green livery that we often see with Max Power on. Heading in towards the hairpin then. There wasn't really much space there. I did have a look on the inside, but I can't really make it happen without actually pit maneuvering Max Power, and I'm not about that. So we're falling behind. We're heading towards the chicane, and once again, I'm going to decide what to do based on what Max Power does. Max Power's towards the left, I'm going to go towards the right, and that's exactly what I do, and I come in the pits. Again, I do recommend most people change tyre here, except if you pit on lap 1. Now, why would you pit on lap 1, or why would you pit on lap 4 or 5 like I'm doing right now? So, arguably, those first 4 laps, 3 laps should I say actually, because we're on the 4th lap now, I've been stuck in traffic, so I've been racing a lot slower. So you could say I want to get out of traffic. Now, in terms of turn 1 out the pits, you want to use the 50 board or that white marker on the right side as your brake marker for turn number 1. Just keep that in mind when you come out the pits. Well, going back to strategy, it's a case of, do you want a race? Are other people going to pit on lap 1, so you want to pit later? Arguably, the fresher tyres at the end of the race are better. But again, it all depends on how your race is unfolding. And we'll see why a little bit later on. We do catch up to the Greek driver a little bit later on here. And as you can see, we're right up the bumper now. Mario Sonic has come out ahead of me. That tells me Mario Sonic hasn't changed tyres. And we did look on the inside of the Greek driver. Not enough room there in terms of space. So we can't go for it yet. This is the problem with changing tyres. I'm now stuck in traffic. And this is the decisions you have to make in this race. It makes it a very good daily race because there is enough of tyre there to get to the end if you want to get to the end. But you can also change tyres and it be effective as well. So I love the balance they've actually got here. Now, I think we've done this combo in the past in terms of a rolling start. And for a rolling start, it doesn't make as much sense because you lose less time in terms of racing because you start with a rolling start. You know, it takes a while to catch up. But with a standing start, it does change the emphasis on this race. The Italian there was off at the chicane. As we go through this right-hander, looking to get the run on the exit there. All sorts of oversteer. So I go towards the right side, and they go for this blocking maneuver. You can see my reaction there, just saying you can't do that because that was a bit cheeky. Now, when somebody does that to me, I normally will race them a bit more aggressively than normal. And that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to send it down the inside here, and we do get the job done. There's a slight bit of contact there, but from me, when I looked at the replay, it's absolutely fine. I was already past at that point, and they just turned in a bit more, which is why the contact happens. In towards the chicane then we go, and we've got a big old run on Mario Sonic, who hasn't changed tyres, as I said earlier. So we've got a lot more grip than Mario Sonic as we go into this right-hander, and that's where I'm looking to gain the advantage. Max Power in the distance also hasn't changed tyres. Hamburger has changed tyres. We've got a mixture of races happening here right now, which makes this race fun. And that's what I'm about. Daily race fun. This race is a really good combo this week. It really is. Is it better than last week's? I don't know, to be honest with you. I reckon it's very similar in terms of that, and at least you can have some good fun. The grid does spread out a bit more. I think there's more strategy in terms of pits and whether you change or not change tyres. So it's a good daily race. It really is a good daily race. We've had to run them. We're in P9 right now. Hamburger looking to try and get past Max Power, who's holding Hamburger up with the older set of tyres that's on that car right now. As we go through here, you can see here, I've got to make a decision right now. I thought, oh, a gap. But then I was like, oh, no, that gap's a little bit too small for a Porsche 911 RSR. So I decided to bump draft Max Power because if I can get past Hamburger, then I can get past Max Power. That's what we're going to try here. However, we're going to go into the chicane side by side. And look at this. We make it work. Well played, Hamburger. That's what I like to see. Awesome, awesome, awesome racing. So lap number 8 then. Hamburger still looking to get past Max Power. I'm looking to get past both of them here as we go into that left-hander. Nowhere to go. We're going to go into this right-hander, and we get the run on Hamburger then. Look at that. Beautiful run out the corner. We're side by side then, heading towards the left-hander. Max Power is keeping that position, so it's showing, you know, you don't have to change tyres, and Max Power can keep that position as we go into the right-hander. And we are finally past Hamburger, hopefully here. Yes, there we go. Job done. Brilliant racing there. Absolutely fantastic stuff. I did actually enjoy that. You saw the smile on my face as well. Right, so we've got through the hairpin. We're going through the Schumacher S right now, and we're right on the exhaust tips of Max Power. Max Power's going defensive then, so I'm going to try around the outside here, and we hit the brakes. Here we go. Round, round, round. Can we do it? Oh, we've just got so much more grip than Max Power. Onto the inside we go, and there we are. We are up into P6, but Max Power gets the run on the exit then as we continue towards the chicane. Who is going to get this position is the question. We have one more lap after this as well. A few more people pitting there, so they definitely won't be changing tyres there, the leaders, as we go onto the brakes then. And side by side through here, Max Power's got the inside on the exit though. Not as much grip due to the older tyres as we head towards the final corner. 3 wide right now, but I think Hamburger's just backed out of that one. I did notice it at the time, but as we continue on through here, once again, that grip, the fresher tyres helping me out massively then. As we continue on out, we're finally up a position as we head towards turn number 1. All I've got to do is defend this. As long as I defend this, we should have the position as we go onto the brakes. We're now up into P5 due to those pit stoppers. I think Shelty was in the pits at the time. And there we go. We've done it. We've defended from Max Power. So all we've got to do now is advance towards the end. And Muscafi, who pit on lap 1, remember, ends up in P4. Well played, Muscafi. Brilliant strategy there. Mixture of cars as well. The Ferrari looking very strong this week. It really is. Now, it's got a daily race score of 8 out of 10. Why is it not the same as last week? Because we've used this combo quite a few times. That's the only reason, and that's where my scoring system can fall down a little bit. Let's talk about a lap guide then. So as we head towards turn number 1, you can see my brake balance on the right side, -2. -2 there for you. So as you head towards turn 1, you got this tarmac piece there. The end of it as it meets the grass, that is my brake marker for turn number 1. You want to brake in a straight line all the way down, and then as you start to release the brakes, that's when you want to turn in. Now, you actually do want a tight line for this one because it just allows the car to flick around a little bit more, and it is the faster line. Some people like to go deep, but this line is the quickest line. Into the on throttle, I had to do 50% initially there because you will suffer some power oversteer. On the right side, you got a piece of tarmac there. That is either your lift-off marker if you haven't carried enough speed out the corner, or dab the brake marker. Either of these is entirely up to you in terms of how you reference it. But that is a marker for me, so I should be turning left right now. I'm going to dab the brakes a little bit. Let the car roll. And what I'm looking for here is that tower on the right side of the square or the orange painted barrier on the left-hand side of the square. Either of those markers, essentially, as they enter or head towards the center of my screen, that's when I'm going to start to accelerate, okay? I'm going to start accelerating at this point, and the car should be able to get round without understeering off to the realms. Continue on down here. On the left-hand side, you've got that lamppost. As that lamppost disappears is when I'm going to hit the brakes. Alternatively, you can try and use the end of the dark green stuff, but I find it a bit too late, and I always end up going a bit too deep when using it. So I prefer the lamppost on the left-hand side. So that's exactly what I'm going to use right here. So we hit the brakes then. We're down to first gear. Get over towards the left-hand side as much as you can. You really want to open up this right-hander. Full throttle. We lifted a little bit. We hit the curb, and then we full throttle out. You can use a lot of the exit there. Notice how much I used there. You can use all of that, and you won't get track limit penalty as we head towards the next corner. So as the short circuit veers off to the right there, we are going to use where the white lines meet as our brake marker. We're braking just before we get to that. Now, for this corner, quite often you want to drop a gear as you go in, and then you want to upshift a mid-corner just to make sure the car is stable on exit. Do I do it on this particular lap? Yes, I do. So then I go up to third gear, over towards the left-hand side. You want to be as far left as possible. Do not be on the right side of the circuit at this moment in time. You want to be as far left. And literally the end of the red and white curbing that I've highlighted right there, I want to brake just before I get to that, and then start to turn into this right-hander. So what you find is that people will try and brake way too late and then go way too deep here. Notice that I trail brake, let the car roll a little bit, and then accelerate out the corner. Use all the curb on the exit. It's a little bit cambered in your favor on the right, so the tighter you get it, the better of an exit you can do. We head towards the hairpin then. We've got the drainage on the left-hand side. We've got the cabin on the right that I've highlighted right there. So it's just after the drainage starts or as the cabin leaves your screen on the right-hand side. It also depends on which Group 3 car you are actually using. So I'm showing you the Porsche right now, but obviously your brake differences or distances may vary. So as we go through the hairpin there, I've actually gone out a bit wider than normal. Normally I'd take a tighter line. But even so, we're looking for that big concrete piece there or the exit curb. I'm looking for the exit curb. When I see that, I start to accelerate. And that's because I know the exit is coming. The curb exists there for me to use. So I start using that. Remember, this corner's cambered as well. So if you can plant the rear wheels down, you will get out of this corner absolutely fine. We head over towards the right-hand side, and then for the Schumacher S, you might want to lift a tiny bit. There we go. I lift a little bit as well. You can do it flat, but I lifted in this situation. What we do now is we're looking for the Marshall on the left-hand side. Alternatively, the 100 board or the green up ahead. So the Marshall is what I was using in this situation, and that's what I'm going to use as a brake marker. So you can see there on Chase Cam, it's actually the second Marshall back rather than the first one, which is what I'm using right here. So as I go to this corner, use all the curb on the inside. Then as you go out, just be careful wheel spin on the exit there. And as you head in towards this right, we've got the Marshall or as the tarmac and meets the green on the right-hand side. So brake in a straight line initially, then release the brakes, turn in and let the car roll. So you'll be trail braking a little bit, then you're going to just let the car roll a little bit as we're going to demonstrate right here. So the car's rolling, we click the curb and then we can bolt out of the corner. Absolutely not a problem. So you can breathe a little bit now and you can focus on the chicane coming up. And the chicane is pretty brutal. It's where a lot of the time can be won or lost in terms of the lap time. So we're going to be using the 100 board or the drainage on the right side. We're braking just before that, actually. I always highlight that Zurich sign on the left-hand side because some of you do prefer using that. So you can use either of these brake markers. But the 100 or the drainage there, brake a little bit earlier than that. And that's what I'm going to do right here. And then I'm going to release the brakes and turn in. Now, I actually abused quite a lot of the chicane on the left that time. Arguably, it cost me more time. If you don't cut as much on the left and cut a bit more on the right, that's the quicker way to do it. For the final corner then, we've got the orange painted barrier on the left-hand side. That is the final brake marker. Essentially, you want to brake towards the corner a little bit. So notice how I've started to point the car towards the corner. I'm going to hit the brakes 100%, and then I'm going to release the brakes. And so you see right there, trail brake, then release. And I'm looking for the start of the pit wall there on the right-hand side. So as that leaves my screen, I want to start hitting the accelerator. Now, I always use this as a marker. I just don't normally highlight it, but I'm highlighting it this time for you, just in case you were unaware with some of my previous lap guides. But as you can see right there, I'm going to hit the accelerator, boost it out the corner. Be careful power oversteering some of the cars. The Porsche doesn't suffer as much as others. And we head towards the line for a 154.4, literally just after I've done a 54.4 as well. So you can see there, that's quite consistent. Now on board Alessandro here, I talked about a brutal reset. So you can see there, Alessandro's come back on the circuit. Very fair, very good sportsmanship there. You know, keeping towards the left-hand side. Unfortunately, veers off with a bit of understeer on the dirty tyres. Comes back on, it gets reset all the way back here. And what's even more brutal about this one is the penalty they get there. 0.5. What's that for? This has got reset. Pretty insane. German Kiwi here just gets it slightly wrong there. Avoids Blue Racer in terms of braking there. Hits max power, unfortunately. Very, very much a mistake. You can see that. Waiting up for them as well. 3-second penalty. Pretty brutal as max power goes by. But it is what it is. Fair play for waiting up. Through the right, we go on Mario Sonic. If you look towards the right side, Blue Racer just gets a bit of wheel spin. And that forces Mario Sonic off. That's going to happen a lot this week. That's why I wanted to highlight that one. We're on board Sammy Snake here. Through the left we go then. Unfortunately, they're going to go off into the barrier. And that's going to be very hard to come back from. Especially with dirty tyres on this car. You've got dirty tyres and huge wheel spin. You're going to go around like that. So yeah, it's pretty crazy, that car, if I'm brutally honest with you. Daily Race B. Well, here we go with Shadow. There's the NSX up ahead as we go into the left-hander. Look at the NSX then, gets a tiny bit of oversteer. Unfortunately, Shadow then continues that oversteer, but the NSX had already lost it there. And we jump on board, never quit here. And they just go off. They come back on the circuit. They're going to say straight here. Unfortunately, Norman just taps them, and that takes out Hoggy as well. Just an unfortunate racing incident, that one. Nobody's fault in the grand scheme of it. So this was the big incident that I was involved in. So we've got the Lamborghini here who goes for a bump draft on Norman. That obviously pushes me on a little bit. I misjudged the braking tiny bit. Sammy tries to go around the outside a bit too much. Norman there, just a slight tap with me with the ping pong physics. As we go through here, there's a slight tap on Norman then. That sends them round. Just an unfortunate racing incident, that one, if I'm honest, as well. I keep saying if I'm honest. I apologise. Right, Daily Race C. We're on board Sammy Snake in the Lamborghini. Now, Sammy's going to go through here, clip the gravel, and spear them off to the right. That is actually a common mistake here at the Nurburgring GP layout. So do keep an eye on it. Don't touch the gravel on the exit there, because it's when most cars get up to the optimum RPM. Through right, we go on the board the BMW here. Slight tap on the Italian driver who heads off the circuit, but the German's going to wait up for them. Really good sportsmanship here because it was their mistake. Now, if you have enjoyed this video, as always, do give it a like and do subscribe to the channel to stay in touch with all the latest content. In terms of content, by the way, Plebs of the Week, again, apologies it didn't come out on Sunday. It's going to come out on Tuesday. I had over 100 submissions and I had to catch up with that. 2 videos there to check out. Do check out those partners down below. Remember, use code Tidgney at checkout to get a discount, and I also get a kickback. Thank you as always, and I hope to see you in another video or live stream again very soon.